Phoenix International Raceway, the world's fastest one-mile oval. It's like a short track, more corner than straightaway, requiring excellent handling from the cars and continual concentration from the drivers. In spirit and configuration, it resembles an oversized sprint car track. It's appropriate that the second race of the kart IndyCar season is held at a track like Phoenix, since sprint car racing is such an integral part of the history of IndyCars. Hi, I'm Dave Bowman. You know, years ago, if you wanted to become an IndyCar driver, you started out in the midgets, and then you worked your way up through the tough sprint car ranks. And if you're good enough, you just might get that IndyCar ride. Well, the same thing held true for a lot of the crew members, as well as some of the car owners. Today, there's still an IndyCar team that continues to keep that tradition alive. Join me as we meet the hidden heroes behind former national sprint car champion and three-time Indy 500 winner, Johnny Rutherford. For the Alex Morales Vermont American team, the Phoenix 200 and the Long Beach Grand Prix a week earlier are valuable opportunities to evaluate their new car in preparation for the biggest race of the year, the Indianapolis 500. New equipment means many hours of prep work in the shop. For the Vermont America team, shop is an unassuming building on Gasoline Alley, a street in Indianapolis, Indiana. Located here are some of America's foremost speed merchants, race teams, engine tuners and builders, car fabricators, and other motorsports-related companies. Costing around $180,000, an Indy car is a carbon fiber and honeycombed aluminum tub, which includes the driver cockpit and a 40-gallon fuel cell. The fuel cell closure panel, which includes the 4-gallon oil tank, bolts to the rear of the tub, creating a rigid structure. It is to this panel that the engine is then bolted. It takes the Vermont American team 3 weeks to get the car up and running so they can begin testing. Unfortunately, they're behind schedule because of the late arrival of their new car. It's appropriate for a team owned by Alex Morales, who for 50 years has been involved in sprint cars and their evolutionary cousins, Indy cars, to be managed by Johnny Caples, a 35-year veteran of auto racing. Caples worked his way through modifieds, midgets, and sprint cars on the traditional road to Indy cars.
Well, I started when I was 15 driving, and I sold my steel guitar and my Cushman Eagle scooter and bought a modified hardtop jalopy, and I haven't backed off. My hobby is auto racing and my profession is auto racing, so that little dirt sprint car out there, that's where I get my relaxation, that's my Valium, and the pressure and the hard work and the worry is involved in the championship car racing.
Unlike many teams today which rely on dozens of people, each a specialist, Caples is aided by only 4 mechanics, each trained in all areas of IndyCar construction and maintenance. Caples' assistant crew chief is Chris Paulson, a young man who has been with Johnny for 5 years.
I love the sport. I've loved it ever since I was a small child, so I told myself as a small child that I was going to get involved in it, and I pursued it from there and got hooked up with some small race teams and worked my way up from there, you might say. I basically take responsibility of the mechanical workings of the race car, you might say, coordinating everybody with what they're doing, making sure everything stays bolted on, so to speak, and basically overseeing the mechanical end of the race car itself.
The closest thing to a specialist is Brian Ingalls, whose primary responsibility is the rear end. Brian has been involved with racing for 20 years and is now in his 3rd year with Johnny.
I myself started driving just out of high school. Started the usual route, jalopies we called them then, sportsmen, midgets, sprint cars, and into some formula racing. And it got pretty expensive, and the sponsors that were behind me just couldn't go any farther. And I decided to work on the cars to stay with the sport.
Around the shop, the crew refers to the process Caples puts new mechanics through as the Johnny Caples School of Auto Racing. The focus of this school is to give the mechanics recruited from the sprint car ranks a well-rounded education in Indy cars through on-the-job training and personal attention. The two newest students are Wayne Slater, who joined the team at the start of the '87 season, and Steve Rittenauer, who joined the team in July of '86.
Between John and Chris kind of watching over us and guiding us on what to do, we just sort of pick up on it, and you learn as you go. In a big team, they're more specialized. Each guy has a certain job. You might only work on uprights or only on gearboxes, or here you get to learn a little bit of everything. You know, I really enjoy that. Everything you do is important because you've got such a major involvement in it. You're, percentage-wise, you have more to do with it than a big team. Big team, you're such a small, just another number, and you don't have as much effect on the final outcome.
Wayne Slater's my new boy on the block. Plucked him out of the East. I usually always try to have one East Coast magnet in here, and I got him out of Connecticut. And no, excuse me, I got him out of Rhode Island, I think. And he is a very good mechanic on dirt cars and midgets, and he has been traveling those circuits many a year while maintaining an independent truck business that he started after working for his father for so many years.
The first time I came out here, I always said that I was going to try and pursue something to move out here for good and hopefully get on a team like this. And well, it happened, you know, 5 years later, so.
Cable's training process, plus a desire by all the crew members to work hard and produce, has created a team that, though small in number, is a match for any in IndyCar racing. Saturday morning at Phoenix International Raceway finds the Vermont American team hard at work putting the finishing touches on its car for the upcoming practice session. For a team like this, with its strong ties to sprint car racing, Lone Star Jr., Johnny Rutherford, is the perfect choice as driver. JR's career is a classic example of a driver learning his craft in sprint cars and going on to tremendous success in Indy cars. For Rutherford, driving for team owner Alex Morales is a dream belatedly come true.
Alex has been around a long time. He knows the business, and he obviously loves it. When you say Ascot Speedway in Los Angeles, the first car that pops into anybody's mind that knows Ascot or knows sprint car racing is the Tamale Wagon. And that's Alex's sprint car. And I've always, when I was a youth racing sprint cars, I said, you know, someday I'd like to go out to Los Angeles and drive the Tamale Wagon. Well, I didn't get to drive the Tamale Wagon at Ascot, but now I drive the big Tamale Wagon.
Besides Capel's four mechanics, also helping out is Bill Miggenberg, the team's truck driver.
Bill, that's our truckee. I got him from a dairy products trucking thing, highly recommended. A very young man with much experience and a perfect safety record. That's how I look for him. So besides driving our truck and our transporter, he takes care of the inventory and does all the errands around the shop while the race car work is being done.
While Johnny Capels feels that you don't need a huge team of specialists to be successful in IndyCar racing, the Vermont American team does have one extravagance, a mascot. He's aspiring midget car driver Chris Malone, nicknamed Critter. Johnny and his wife Dana are Chris's godparents.
His dad was Shim Malone, the USAC starter, and he used to come to the races, and we called him a crispy critter because he was just itty-bitty. So small that he used to fall through the bleachers of the grandstand.
Using the race car setup from last year as a starting point, Capels has made some changes to compensate for the new car's better aerodynamics. The practice session will give the team a chance to fine-tune the car's handling characteristics. Because of the time and budgetary constraints, the team has not really tested the new car here at Phoenix. The next hour will be a busy period for them.
I think this was the most productive hour we've had since we got here. Yesterday we had two test sessions, an hour and a half in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, and it was our first exposure to Phoenix this year with our 87C Vermont American March. And we didn't gain at all yesterday. In fact, the direction we were being led to go, we pursued to the fullest, and it just wasn't positive. So last night we did a rewrite on the car and changed a lot of things, and this morning we had the first positive signal that we were chasing the right avenue. Unfortunately, we probably did more miles than anybody else in that 1 hour, 61 miles, and we now know what else we have to change. But time's run out for us. It's time to qualify, and we're just going to have to put it in the book.
Qualifying. At once, an exhilarating and helpless moment for the crew. Exhilarating because it's a chance to match their work against the other crews. Helpless because it's now in the hands of Johnny Rutherford, out on the track alone against the clock. Rutherford's times net the team the 11th spot on the starting grid for tomorrow's race.
I think we're gaining. We're just run out of time. You know, it's hard to make up in 3 hours what some people can do in 5 or 10 days of testing down here. But really, we're looking forward to the race, and we're still working on the car to try to make gains. And it's all for preparation for Indianapolis. That's what these first 2 races are, is to find out how reliable everything is on the car.
Caples takes pride in his team finishing its work on time and having a personal life. But for this crew, work and play are much the same. After practice, they head out to Phoenix's Manzanita Speedway and meet up with team owner Alex Morales, whose Tamale Wagon sprint car is racing there. The sprint car background of the IndyCar crew has helped create some strong bonds between the 2 Morales Motorsports teams. In Anaheim, California, after the Long Beach Grand Prix, the Vermont America crew borrowed the sprint car shop to work on its car. This evening, though, the focus is on sprint cars and enjoying the racing.
Racing machine off to a good start. Nobody knows how to get things going like Steve's Uncle Carl, his chief mechanic. And Carl insists on Autolite spark plugs. He knows they can stand up to an awesome engine like this because they're made by the only American company that puts a tough copper glass seal here. Now, you might think they're special racing plugs, but they're the same kind you use in your car. So how does Steve Kinzer feel about Autolite? He's with them all the way.
American crew members have put thoughts of sprint cars out of their minds. Their focus now is on Indy cars, specifically number 21. As they check and recheck their work, 2 people concentrate their attention on the engine. They are Rick Long and Carl Sindrick. Both work for HP Engines run by renowned engine builder and developer Herb Porter. To help hold down the cost, Johnny Caples relies on gasoline alley vendors like Porter. It's Porter's company that does all the development work on the team's Cosworth engines.
Herb has helped me tremendously. He always thought I was a feisty little kid, and sometimes he'd have to slap me when I first came back here. But that man has probably forgot more than most people will ever know about this business. And I go down every once in a while and bend his ear. We'll have a quiet session about what's happening because he's also chassis-wise. He understands chassis. He was a chief mechanic and had cars at the Speedway before I even knew how to get out of my diapers. And I lean on him a lot, and he's been a big plus to our team.
While Johnny Rutherford gets suited up and climbs into the car for the start of the race, in the pits, another man is putting on a fire retardant suit and helmet. He's Mike Barker, a volunteer member of the crew who is the team fuel man.
He got a chance with us to do our second car at Indianapolis last year with Rich Vogler, and recognized a distinct talent that he had for trying to be perfect at what he was doing and being observant as to any faults with the equipment.
As the engines fire, the team knows they are up against some formidable competition. They're not worried. Their sprint car backgrounds, colored by the IndyCar experience of Caples, has taught them that long before the race is over, anything and everything will happen.
Sprint car racing may not teach you how to race or work on or drive one of these Indianapolis cars, but it darn sure teaches you how to race, and that's the name of the game. You've got to be able to take everything that's given to you and claw out any more you can get.
Around here, we really try first maybe to finish the race rather than to finish first, because like in several years back when we were hooked up with Joe Leonard on the Vels Parnelli Jones team, we always had a saying, to finish first, you must first finish. And I think that's our primary requisite with the work that the boys do out in the workshop. Try to give us every chance that we possibly can have to finish the race.
Johnny Caples has always been able to get more out of less than any other mechanic I have ever seen, I think. And he does a good job at it. His cars don't break, and that's it's very rare when they do. And so I enjoy that feeling of knowing that the car is going to be right when we roll it out.
Early in the race, on lap 31, the caution flag comes out. The team prepares for Rutherford to pit.
Chris, no rubber, fuel, just fuel.
The crew moves efficiently and quickly. When JR leaves the pits, he's one position up thanks to his crew's speed. As the race continues, the Vermont American team falls into a pattern, anxiously scanning turn 4, looking for car number 21, following it down the front straight, and then searching again. It's a nervous, trying time, spent waiting for the next pit stop and hoping nothing goes wrong before that. Nearing the halfway point in the race, the crew prepares for the second pit stop. Pitting strategy is determined by Caples, with input from Chris Paulson and Johnny Rutherford. An IndyCar averages 1.8 miles to a gallon of fuel. With the first pit stop on lap 31, JR is beginning to run low. Plus, his tires, which are the set he started the race on, are going away, making the car hard to handle. On lap 101, Caples signals his driver to come in. With a full load of fuel and new tires on the right side and left rear, Rutherford picks up his pace. Although JR is several laps down to race leaders Roberto Guerrero and Bobby Rahal, he's able to move into 9th position. The Vermont American team is scrambling. The yellow has just come out on lap 154 of the Phoenix 200. It's the perfect opportunity for the last pit stop.
JR, let's catch a pace car and get in for your tires and fuel. Slow down, we're right here.
When JR left the pits, he left with the last of the team's fuel. CART, the IndyCar sanctioning body, allocates only enough fuel for the teams to finish the race if they average 1.8 miles per gallon.
Huh? I can't hear you, boy.
Tank is empty.
Yeah, I want to know what shape the car's in.
What do you mean?
I mean, did the car fill up or not?
No.
The hose empty?
As the race nears its end, Roberto Guerrero, who has dominated, pulls out to a commanding lead. The only other person on the lead lap is Bobby Rahal, who trails in second place. Everyone else is at least 2 laps down.
JR, do you read me? We gave you all the fuel that we had. You have been averaging 1.83 miles per gallon. You should be all right.
stakes to checkered. Rutherford finishes a respectable 9th. But the race isn't really over until the team gets a chance to analyze it.
What made you think you needed the left front? Could you see anything wrong?
Vibrating like hell, and it wasn't when I started back out, and then it started vibrating like hell again. Putting my hands to sleep. Yeah.
I kept trying to get you to pit after you catch that pace car. Some guys slowed down on the yellow, some were still running laps of 27 seconds.
Yeah, the car was just a pusher all day.
Well, how come you called her earlier, though, and said you're starting to get loose, your right rear's giving up?
It was, and I changed it. Well, that was the tire was going away.
Okay, well, that was loose then,
yeah,
right?
If I ran it in like a left front.
3 days we spent here, I guess we could say, were well worth it, I mean, in preparation for Indianapolis. I guess I should be happy that the machine has proved it can run 200 miles all right. I would have liked to run further up. At times we ran real decent in the race, and then at other times we kind of backed off a little bit, and then we would pick back up. I can't blame it on any one thing for certain, but the pit stops went well, and the crew blended together for their first time this year, and they did real well today.
Generally, if a team does not win a race, there are the excuses, the apologies, the heartfelt comments about trying harder next week. But Johnny Caples has learned from experience and taught his team that to have raced well, to have competed and finished, is a reward unto itself. Victory is just a way to make the moment sweeter. For the hidden heroes of the Alex Morales Autosports team, this is Dave Bowman.